So I was inspired to make this video after watching an interview with President Obama, where he was asked a question point blank about alien life. And he answered that it most certainly exists. But he said it in a way that brought back memories to me from a story that I had heard while I had worked in the White House. But he said he didn't find anything in relation to Area 51 or any aliens being kept by the government. But the way he said it, and he said, unless they're keeping it from the President of the United States, and he said it with gravity, with a type of disappointment. I had worked in the Office of Presidential Correspondence, one of the oldest and largest offices in the White House. That office handles all the mail that comes in to the president. One day, my boss, he sat us down and told us a story. President Obama came into the office. The question, he's like, well, the letters that come in that deal with aliens, that deal with UFOs, what do you do with those? My boss, he took it as a joke. He responded, oh, well, we give those letters to the vice president. Everyone in the room laughed. Everyone but the president. The president was not laughing. After the laughter died down and people saw the president's expression, people thought, okay, well, this is a serious question. But there was no answer. And the president was very serious, after that exchange. My boss talked about it as kind of a faux pas, I made a joke when I shouldn't have, but I took it in a different way. If the President of the United States is asking you in a serious way, what are you doing with letters about phenomena that is unexplained? Phenomena that supposedly the government knows about. And yet he seriously wants an answer. And the answer that you give him is a joke. And the fact that he's even asking this question, the fact that he's asking about what do we do with these letters, with these pieces of information from citizens about phenomena we don't understand. He was genuinely asking because he wants to know. Here he was being blocked by a joke. And so, you think about that. You think about what exactly is being kept from the president. Why isn't he able to find out? Why is he forced to ask a staffer in the Office of Presidential Correspondence about aliens? And so you kind of wonder, what else is being kept from the president that others think is, this isn't important. He doesn't need to see this. But it's something that he probably should see. President Obama's explanation that life exists, he's doing it based on what a scientist would say, based on what any observer using rational thought and data points would say. The observable universe, the number of planets, probability is we're not the only life out there. But he's saying that from what he's reading out in the press and what he's reading from scientific papers, not from what he gathered, at least by his own words, from his own government. The highest level of office, elected by all the people, can't get answers from his own government. That's kind of sad.